Welcome to The Explainer. Our job here is to get under the hood of some pretty complex systems and really figure out how they actually work. So let's just jump right in. Because beyond the day-to-day headlines, beyond all the political chatter, there are these hidden systems, right? These are the actual rules that have a real impact on your money and your freedom to move around the world. And what we're going to do today is cut through all that noise. We're not focused on the breaking news, but on the real rules of the game itself, using the very latest policy information that's available. We've broken this down into 4 key parts, kind of like a roadmap, to show you how these different rulebooks all fit together. We'll cover borders, then finance, look at the future, and finally wrap up with the key takeaways. All right, first up, Game 1. This is all about understanding the updated rulebook for getting into and staying in the US. And let me tell you, the landscape here has really changed. Let's start with a number, 39. As of January 2026, that's how many countries are on a new, much bigger travel restriction list. And that number alone tells you there's been a major policy shift. Now, here's where it gets interesting when you look closer. This isn't just one big ban. It's actually split into 2 different levels. You've got 19 countries facing a full suspension. That means no new visas, period. Then there's another 19 with a partial suspension, which specifically hits new green card applicants and a lot of the common visas for tourism and study. Okay, and this is a really big deal. In the past, there was always this key exception for the immediate family of US citizens. Well, that's gone now. This just completely changes the game for so many families trying to go through the green card process from one of those countries. But it's not just about where you're from. The rulebook has also gotten a lot thicker when it comes to health screenings. You know, traditionally, the focus was pretty straightforward, stopping contagious diseases at the border. The new guidance, though, is much broader. We're now talking about a shift to looking at chronic, non-contagious conditions. Things that were never really on the radar before, like heart disease, diabetes, even obesity, are now being factored into whether a visa can be approved. That's a huge departure. So what's really going on here? Well, this slide gets to the heart of it. The real mechanism at play is something called the public charge doctrine. The goal isn't just about public health anymore. It's about predicting future financial risk. These new health checks are basically being used as a tool to guess if someone might, down the road, need government support. Okay, let's switch gears. We're moving from Game 1, mobility, to Game 2, finance. Here, we're going to dig into some of the more advanced strategies that are built right into the US tax code. So the first rule you have to know in this game is the power of what's called a pass-through entity. Think of an LLC or an S-corp. The business itself doesn't pay any income tax. Instead, all the profits, and importantly the losses, flow directly onto the owner's personal tax return. And that right there is what opens the door to some incredibly powerful strategies. So a really key play here is something called accelerated depreciation. Here's how it works. Normally, you'd write off a rental property over almost 28 years. But if you do something called a cost segregation study, you can separate out all the stuff that isn't part of the building itself. You know, carpets, appliances, fixtures. The tax code lets you write those things off way faster, which creates this huge tax loss on paper right up front. Okay, so you've got this big paper loss. Now what? Well, this is where the magic happens. For a normal long-term rental, that loss is considered passive, meaning you can only use it to cancel out other passive income, like from another rental. But with short-term rentals, there's a loophole. If you're involved enough in the property, those losses can become non-passive. And that's the absolute key. It means you can take that giant paper loss from your real estate and use it to directly lower the taxes you owe on your main job, like your high-paying salary. All right, so we've looked at the established rules. Now let's get into the much trickier game of trying to figure out what's coming next. And to do that, you really have to break down what officials are saying, word by word. Take this recent comment. It's gotten a lot of attention. And on the surface, you hear that and you think, great, things are getting better. But to really understand what it might mean, you have to dig into the context. So let's break this down like an analyst would. First, what's the hard fact? The official was asked a very, very specific question about letting reporters into Gaza. That's it. Now the interpretation. The language used in the answer, a lot of bans, everything opening up, was extremely broad. So that's what opens the door to speculation. Could it mean more? Could it refer to economic sanctions or even the US travel bans we were just talking about? Maybe. And I really want to hammer this point home. Any link between that statement and a potential change in US immigration policy is pure speculation right now. It's an educated guess, an inference based on the words used, but it is absolutely not confirmed policy. So after going through the rule books for both mobility and finance, what does it all boil down to? What are the most important things to remember? Let's just quickly recap the core mechanics. On the mobility side of things, travel restrictions are much wider, that critical family exception is gone, and health screenings are now about financial risk. On the finance side, pass-through businesses are your entry point, accelerated depreciation creates paper losses, and the short-term rental loophole lets you use those losses against your main income. And of course, remember that any talk about the future needs to be analyzed very, very carefully. So at the end of the day, understanding these systems, how they actually work behind the scenes, that's step one. The real question, the one you have to ask yourself is, now that you know the underlying rules of the game, not just the headlines, how are you going to adjust your strategy?